Viva a cartola, viva a candeia, viva a cuíca do mestre Marçal, viva a portela, viva a mangueira, viva o fundo do nosso quintal. Viva a cartola, viva a candeia, viva a cuíca do mestre Marçal, viva a portela, viva a mangueira, viva o fundo do nosso quintal.
Hi guys, I've missed you so much. I'm so excited for today's video. I have been getting a lot of comments to do kind of like really beginner friendly upcycles, and I am here to provide literally whatever you want. I am at your service. I'm so excited to be making this video because honestly, I am such a firm believer that thrift flipping and upcycling does not have to be this complex process where you're doing like very intricate things. I think that even the most simplest of alterations is considered upcycling. I know that a lot of people won't agree with me, but at the end of the day, you're literally like prolonging the life of a garment, and that's the most sustainable thing that we can do. So today I'm going to take you along for 3 beginner upcycles. The first one is going to be adding some beading to some tank tops. The second will be adding kind of like a cutie ruffled edge to any pair of pants. And then the third one is going to be kind of ruching a skirt to kind of give it some more elements. I chose these upcycles in particular because there's not going to be any garment construction. We're basically just going to be adding elements to it to kind of spruce it up, give it a little bit more life. I know you have items in your closet that you haven't worn for months, maybe even years. And also what I love about these 3 upcycles in particular is that you can probably find all of these items already pre-existing in your closet. They're kind of everyday staple pieces. We are just gonna have fun like expressing ourselves. So repeat after me. We do not have to be perfect at something that we're a beginner at. Or whatever, even if we have experience too, like let's just have fun. It's literally just clothes. For our first upcycle, I have been seeing these beautiful beaded tops absolutely everywhere.
I said, oh, jump scare.
I think that they're so chic and that they add just like a level of coolness. And honestly, anytime you're adding beadwork or even like hardware, you're kind of like giving the use of jewelry to your clothes. So you don't have to like necessarily accessorize too much, or you can obviously, like I love like a maximalist look. I'm gonna be adding beadwork to 2 tops. I thrifted this knit top yesterday and it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna be adding some beadwork to this. Months ago, I thrifted this like shirt with this beautiful like beadwork, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could add this to a tank top. So I'm gonna be reusing this. So if you're ever at the thrift store and you find a garment or even jewelry that kind of like really calls out to you, this would be perfect for that. I'm also, for the second shirt is this like rinky-dink tank top that I've had for years that I'm so emotionally attached to. I cannot get rid of her. But I had a necklace or a bracelet break and I kept the beading for this occasion. So again, this is perfect if you find like some jewelry at the thrift store that really calls your name, or if like you have a necklace or a bracelet or some type of jewelry that broke, you can utilize those beads. Just make sure that the holes are gonna be wide enough so that it can go through your tank top. You don't even need a sewing machine for this. It will make your life a little bit easier, but you can just do hand sewing. Let's jump in. So for our first tank top, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab this and I'm just gonna unhook it from this. If you have like a regular tank top, then essentially what you would do is you would just seam rip. So I'm gonna seam rip this because we need to take this off in order to be able to slide the beads through. Okay, so I'm taking this little guy off. Now we have our exposed strap. Basically, I'm just gonna be like folding it in half and like stuffing it in the little hole. And then with the safety pin, I'm just gonna run it through. And there we have like our first bead. That looks amazing. Literally so freaking easy. And like, that's literally it. So we have our beading fed through our strap. Now I'm just gonna grab the same little flaps and I'm gonna feed it through again. If you don't have a tank top like this, honestly, you would just sewing it to the shirt. You would just skip this part. But because mine is like this, I'm just gonna do a straight stitch and then we're literally done. Okay, for our second tank, we're gonna grab this old shirt and we're gonna be utilizing the beadwork already existing in there. I already started messing around with some of the beadwork and I accidentally ripped one. So we have to be very careful. Okay, there's no good way to do that. Now that we made a disaster, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to cut these. Okay, now we have our beadwork. This top that I thrifted, that I utilized the beads, it was only $4.50. If I would have gone to Michael's or Joann's, then that would have been so expensive, and also it would have just taken so much time. Like, these are already pre-built and it was hella cheap. Very quickly, let me run you through what I'm thinking. If you have a tank top, basically we will loop this and then do a little stitch right here and like right here. Then from the back, we'll then connect to this one. Like that.
I'll admit I've never known much about love now. All these boys got me bored as fuck. Now I'll admit I never thought you could be the one. But now you're all I'm thinking of.
I just did a quick little try on just to make sure that the straps were the accurate length, and it looks so cute. I'm literally about to just do 2 simple stitches and then we're done. I did this in like 27 minutes. It looks so cute. This is the final upcycle. Again, this literally took me 27 minutes. I'm obsessed with how it turned out. The longest part for me was just making sure that the straps fit really well and that they weren't like really tugging. So I did have to try it on like twice, but it was super easy. And like, I just love how it turned out. Like, gives the shirt just a little bit more oomph. It makes it a little bit more interesting. It gives it more color, more texture. I think tops like this are really easy when you don't know what to wear, because you can literally have dirty hair, pull it up in a bun, because this is kind of the statement. Just wear like your little gold chain and you're like out the door. I paired it with some like vintage trousers and I love how this looks. And here is the second little tank top. Just gives it some more visual interest. I love this. If you find your beads are moving a lot, you can just add a little knot before you finally like sew your strap down. It turned out super, super cute. Hi guys, it's time for beginner friendly upcycle number 2. So I have these really comfy kind of linen pants. They kind of look like baggy jeans, honestly, but they're super lightweight and they're just really, really big on me. These have been sitting in my to hem pile for months. Because these are so freaking long on me, I need to take about 8.5 inches off of the hem. I'm like 5'2" on a good day. With that same scrap, I'm going to double the length and make a ruffled edge so that we have some cutie ruffled pants. I've been seeing this everywhere. I think it's so cute. Kind of gives it like a more feminine touch. When I first started sewing, ruffles felt so incredibly intimidating, but they're actually super easy to do. This upcycle is gonna work best on kind of wider leg pants. If you have any pants that are kind of flowy, kind of linen, some very like loungy pants, this would be perfect. This is super lightweight cotton, and ruffles tend to look really magical when you use lightweight fabrics. Depending on your height and how much you have to take off, I would say you definitely need at least 6 inches. Just like as a general rule of thumb, any kind of ruffle needs 1.5 times more fabric than what you're attaching it to. So my plan of action is just to cut this and then cut it again and then add that remaining to the length so that we have enough to actually do the ruffle. I'll show you that in a second though. Okay, I have the pants on me. Basically, what we want to make sure is that we have A, enough fabric, and B, that we're cutting towards kind of where our ankle is. If you want it super cropped, I would go more. I kind of still want it to be a little cropped, but not super cropped. So I'm gonna cut these right kind of where my ankle is. Actually, I'm gonna go a little bit above my ankle. This should be about the length that I need to cut. Yeah, so we're at 8 inches, perfect. Let's get cooking. So now we have a long panel, and you're probably wondering, like, why did you seam rip the hem? And it was because I think that a ruffled hem looks nice with like a rolled edge. And this hem was a little too big. I've ironed both of my pieces. Now what I'm gonna do is just fold this in half since it'll be easier to kind of slice in the middle. I have 24 by 9. So now what I have to do is just cut this in half. So I will be at the 4.5 mark. Alrighty, so now we have 4.5, 4.5. I'm just gonna sew these down. We have one more step before ruffling. So basically what you want to do is you just want to do your rolled hem now. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm just doing 1/4 inch once and then twice. And then I'm just clipping those down. And then I will just do a simple stitch to hold those down. Guys, something that I used to skip all the time was like matching the right thread with the right fabric. So anytime I'm working with denim, even lightweight denim, I'm still using denim thread. So I have two options right here. I have this blue one and then this kind of mustardy one. I kind of like this more aesthetically, so I'm gonna be using this. Okay, there's a few things we have to do to prep our machine so that it could do some auto ruffles. There's a ton of ways to sew ruffles. I did this a few months back with like a jacket. I'll leave that tutorial over there so you can see that ruffling technique there. I'm gonna be doing the exact same technique. So basically what you wanna do is you wanna crank up the tension. So I'm gonna do, I think 7.5. And then for my stitch length, I'm gonna do 4.5, which is my max, and then I'm gonna cut this all the way down to 1. Another thing is that you want to make sure you have both tails. And as you can see, I'm not using my nice denim one anymore because this is basically just a basting stitch. And I'm not gonna waste my nice thread on just a basting stitch. So I switched that out. I upped my tension. I upped my stitch length. We have our two tails. We don't want to backstitch because even though this is gonna do an auto ruffle, you still wanna have some customization with how much or how little. So we like to keep these just in case we have to tweak a little, but we are ready to rumble. No, we're ready to ruffle. That's what we are. And then you kind of want to do the same thing as well here. You kind of want to just leave two little tails just in case. And here is our ruffle. So basically this has to equal 24 inches. And if it's that, perfect. If it's shorter, we have to lessen. But if it's longer, then we will have to ruffle it up more. So let's see what we're measuring at right now. So we are at 32. So we just have to do a bit more ruffling. And if that's the case, then we will grab these and we're just gonna start tugging on them. You wanna do this very gently because you don't wanna break these threads. And you want them to be as even as possible too. And I won't lie, this does take a second, so just be patient. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly check it just to make sure we are nearing that 24. Okay, we went from 32 to 26, so we're getting closer. We're almost there. Okay, so now I have my ruffle. I'm gonna place wrong sides together, and I'm just going to stitch this down so that I can just fit this in my pant tube. So with our pant tube, we are going to slide her on in. And I kind of want these to be at the front because I really like this kind of dimension. So I am going to match up these side seams. And then I'm just gonna pin her together. We are done pinning. The last step is just to overlock or zigzag. I just attached the ruffle to the actual pant. The last step, the very last one we're done, is that we just need to seam rip that like neon green thread, and then we should be all good. Final pants, and I love how they turned out. The instant dopamine that rushes to my head because these are just so freaking fun. They make me feel like a little flower, like the way that they kind of expand on my legs. I feel like a cutie little flower, the way that they kind of like expand and like branch out. It's so cute. Like it just makes any outfit instantly cuter. The math was a little bit confusing, but I think the key here is just to chop the hem and then chop that hot dog style again so that you just have a really long piece of rectangular fabric so that you can ruffle. But yeah, I'm obsessed with how they turned out. I feel like I see so many of those like fashion Copenhagen girlies wearing stuff like this. Like these pants are so Ghani coated. It's kind of crazy. It's very feminine. It's very frilly. You can dress it up. You can dress it down. But I don't know. I just feel so cutesy. I feel like a little girl. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's that feeling when you wear like a very twirly dress. This is how I'm feeling with these pants. Okay, it is upcycle number 3, and I think I'm actually the most excited for this one. I thrifted this beautiful silky like midi skirt, and for this upcycle, what I really want to do is kind of cut it a little asymmetrical and then just do some ruching elements to it. I know you guys are probably very sick of me ruching items, but I just think it's just such a cool like vibe, and I think it gives things more texture and like you can really play around with like different shapes. So I think that's what we're gonna do today. For a thrift flip like this, I definitely recommend using a skirt that's pretty lightweight. That way that ruching can really like take hold. And yeah, we have a lot to work with, so let's get into it. I'm just gonna start kind of marking where I want the asymmetry to land. I'm just eyeballing this. I don't think this has to be super perfect because of all the textures that we're gonna have present. I'm being very conscientious that I don't take too much length off because we are gonna ruche this and it's gonna kind of like shrink on itself, so I don't want like my ass cheeks to be hanging out. So that is something to be mindful of. If your skirt has like a zipper or has like ties or has buttons, just make sure that you're avoiding that area because I'm not trying to install a new one. With upcycling, it's literally all about working smarter, not harder. I just took off the skirt. Now I'm just gonna start cutting.
I would let you change me. I would be a fool. I can't think of any old thing I wouldn't do for you. And I would let you waste me. I live at your rule. I would live a life with no regret if it's with you. If it's with you.
I just finished doing my overlock seam on my hem. I'm debating if I want to do a rolled hem because, to be honest, I don't want to do that. It's gonna take like so long. I think I'm gonna skip it for now. If I want to do it, I can always just do it later. Now I'm just gonna kind of start drawing some wavy lines. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's not really gonna be any rhyme or reason. I just want kind of a lot of like curvy gathers, if that makes sense. Done this tutorial many times, but I'm gonna just keep on doing it. With shirring, you're gonna need elastic thread. Mine looks like this. And this is what we're gonna use for our bobbin, and that's what's gonna make it stretchy and elastic. Okay, so basically what you wanna do is you just wanna hand wind this on your bobbin. So you don't wanna use too much tension, but you also don't wanna use too little of tension. So there's kind of like a sweet spot. It'll take you a few tries. It took me a few tries, but once you get it, it's super easy. So we have our elastic. We get our bobbin. I just kind of like to hold it down and then I start winding like that. I will do this till I fill her up. For my top thread, I'm just gonna use this black one. Okay, I have all my tension, all my settings are perfect. You can see because my little tester fabric is ruching up perfectly. I wanna show y'all a little trick. So once I get my tension right and it's perfect, I don't wanna cut this fabric because you can even mess up a lot of settings just like, you know, cutting your thread. So what I like to do is I kind of like to just kind of take this off like that. I'm just gonna start my guy right here. So see how we didn't cut anything? Then I'm gonna put my presser foot down, my needle down, and then I'm just gonna start shirring. And I will back stitch, very important. And then I'm just gonna start ruching. What I like to do if you do need to cut it is I will just stretch it and just make sure that we have a bobbin little tail so that it doesn't go back out. And that, you should be good to go, just like that. I'm just gonna do this for like 20 more years, so I'll see you in a second. When I'm doing any sort of shirring project, I like to kind of pause and then try stuff on because again, you're kind of shrinking the garment and you don't really know how it's sitting. So I have done few try-ons and I've just been adding like where I see fit. For example, I really like this layout right here. I think it's really fun. I just think that this is like a little bit too long still. So I'm gonna add like this horizontal line that ends like over there, and then that should shrink it a little. With this skirt, there's so many different ways of wearing it. It's just like how kind of short do you wanna go? How textured do you wanna go? Also, you wanna periodically be checking your bobbin because this shit goes by really quick. And the last thing you want is to run out of your elastic bobbin midway through. So keep an eye out on that as well. My God, I had the vision, but somehow this turned out way better than I could have ever imagined. And I knew it was gonna turn out cute. I just did not imagine it to turn out this cute, this editorial. I'm like so obsessed with this. The texture, the asymmetrical like part of it. I love it with some like knee-high boots. We're approaching fall, so this is like a perfect transitional piece, especially if I layer it with maybe even some flannels and again, just wearing it with some boots. There's something about me and a skirt. We just go together real bad. And yeah, I love how this looks. I'm so happy that I ended up going with this skirt instead of the gray one that you guys saw at the beginning of the video, because that one was a little bit more structured. It was a little bit more heavyweight fabric. And this one is kind of like that silkiness. And I knew that it would be perfect to like scrunch up and to give us dimension and texture and slay. I can wear it so many different ways. Like if I just twist and turn it, if I want this more to the front, I can just turn it. If I want a little bit more cheeky sexiness in the back, then I can have this like really low part back there. There's just so many ways to wear this, and I just love a multifunctional garment. The key to this upcycle is just using a skirt that is super lightweight, silky, so that you can get these really fun shirred lines, that ruching, that texture. I usually can ramble on and on and on about my upcycles, but this one truly is so cherry. Like, I love this so much.
Alrighty guys, that concludes my 3 easy upcycles, super beginner friendly. Really my whole mission for this video, and just my mission in general, is to really empower you guys to take on like clothes, right? What does it mean to customize something? You don't need to be the world's greatest sewer. You don't need to have like expert level skills to really transform a garment, you know? As you saw, adding beadwork, adding ruffles, adding ruches, like that transforms a garment so beautifully. It gives it more texture, it gives it more character. It makes it feel more uniquely you. Something that I constantly have to remind myself is progress over perfection, right? So it's not about sewing perfectly, it's just about experimenting. And what I find so fulfilling is that with each thrift flip, with each upcycling project that I take on, I'm learning new things. Even sometimes midway through the upcycle, I'm like, oh, well, this would look good here, or I could do this here. And then really quickly in the middle of sewing, pulling up a YouTube video. There's always so much to learn, and it could be a little bit overwhelming, but I think ultimately it's a good thing because it just keeps you in this very like humble beginner mindset where there's always something to learn. There's always a new technique, there's always new fabric, there's always new sewing methods. There's no one right answer for anything. But yeah, what I really love is that everything just comes from your unique perspective. In the age of like fast fashion where, you know, sometimes you'll see two people wearing the same shoe or the same pair of pants, you know that with upcycling and thrifting, that garment is uniquely yours, which I just think is the coolest shit ever. But yeah, I hope you feel inspired. I hope you go into your closet and like give that little t-shirt that you've neglected for years a little bit of TLC. And yeah, just thank you all for your support and all your lovely messages. I look forward to posting on here out of every platform. Like, I love the community that we have built here and I want to keep that going. So I think I want to do like a Q&A soon. So any questions that you have for me, sewing related, non-sewing related, like I'm pretty much an open book. So if you want to know something, just leave me a little comment down below. And yeah, I just love you guys so much and thank you for being like the coolest fucking people ever. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon. I love you so much. Mwah. Bye.